Welcome to another Plan 6 part video. Today's video, the Triumph Stag. Yes, we have a Triumph Stag here. The Triumph Stag is, well, to be honest, a bit of a pinnacle and boat of failure for the Triumph series. It was one of probably I'd say, the larger or the later ones, like the, how do I say it, like, it's like a massive Spitfire, except it has a V8 in it, so it has lots of power. It also has a lot of toys and technology in it, so it's very modern considering. And this is a 73. So it's come in today because the car drives. It just, well, it hasn't been maintained a lot. So like, I think some of the brakes may have seized up a little bit. Needs new tires. So basically, since the owner got it, you haven't drove it much. You haven't put many mileage on it. So because of that, certain things, well, you don't operate when you don't use them too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over and get this car serviced. We're going to check the plugs, the leads, the timing, we're going to do the oil, and we're going to go over the brakes as well. So we're going to go over the brakes, take them off, have a look, see if they're seized, mostly probably change the flexi pipes and all that, and we'll send it away and get us some new rubber because the car's 18 years since the owner got it, and you haven't changed the tires, and to be honest, they're pretty dry. So that can a lot to be with the handle on it, because the owner knows that when you brake it's very spongy, plus it pulls a little, and there's also most likely a imbalance in the tires as well anyway, because when you get to a certain speed it gets a good vibration. And how you know the difference with an alignment and a tire, let's say, that needs new balancing, is that if a tire needs balancing at a certain point, at a certain speed, that wobble becomes the utmost it can be, and the more you push through it, it gets so quick that the wobble cancels itself out. So you'll start to feel the vibration, the wobble, and it'll push right through it, and it'll go out because it's spinning too quick. So because of that, that seems to be the issue. We're going to reckon that most likely just tires are dried up and it needs a bit of a balance. Most likely we'll probably try to get it aligned as well, because when you get new tires, it's always best to get the alignment done. Don't have to, but it's always best to do it because you're getting new rubber. Everything will be different regarding whether how the tire hits the ground, size, whether it's radial or not, and all that jazz. So it's best interest to do it. Not cheap though, that's the only thing. So yeah, we'll have a quick little walk around through it. So let's go have a look. It's a sweaty day. I just put the TR3 out, so I'm all sweaty. Trying to get the headlight ring on, it was a nightmare. So let's zoom out a bit. So you can see this is yellow. I don't say yellow, I want to call it mustard. But light mustard. It's definitely interesting. You don't see many Stags, especially this colour. So it's a bit unique. A few things that point out to me, I see the MGB limited wheels, because they're the same 14-inch and everything. So that's what I see when I look at that. So can you get different wheels if it's the same? It might be the same bolt pattern, I'm not 100% sure. But that's exactly what I see when I see them wheels. So it gives you options if that's the case, that if these are the same bolt pattern as an MGB, then you can open up different options for them. There is a soft top that comes up, but we're not going to play with that because apparently that's its own fiasco. The rear seat is actually, she's going to get it redone herself. There was a tear. There's some tears, and she's going to get reupholstered or redo it herself just for the sake of it. A few of the things I noticed are like the seat belt there. If I look at it, it actually looks warped. When I look at it, it's all curved, which means it's all dried out. So it's obviously an original. Does it work? Yes. Would it be safe? That's a different question. You hope you never have to use it. These, unlike the rest of them, are not a full open window. So they actually, as much as they are soft top, they actually have a window frame. So it's basically like an average door. So for 1973, this was a pretty advanced car. You'd be pushing it on the lines of like a Jag for the amount of toys. Because like, if you look at this, if you look at this car, you would honestly think that you're looking at something more, apart from the wood, in the 90s. Because everything looks pretty modern. The gauges have a Spitfire all over them. I'm pretty sure the exact same gauges as Spitfire. I'm not sure where they pulled their parts from, because like anything, every Triumph is a leftover of something else. So something they made because there was nothing else left to make it with. Let's put the lid up. I hate the lid. I hate it because it goes up so vertical, it feels like it's going to go right all the way. That'd be a bad thing in a windy day. It would really come down. So here we are. So this is all an original engine. So it's a V8 engine. The way I look at it is like putting two TR7s in there, because when I look at this half, I see a TR7. I look at that half, I see a TR7. So to me, it's a TR14. Hey, bad joke, yes. So other than that, it has a lot. It has power steering. I believe it has the air pump in here as well. But there's a lot of good stuff considering this is a 73. And if you go back to what else is in the 73, you're talking about the TR6, obviously the MGB, the midgets, and they had nowhere near as much as this. Like I said, it's big and bulky. It's classified as a 4-seater by right, even though it's only 2 doors. So I don't think they ever made a 4-door version. But I think they were available in Canada, but I think very limited. This was picked up from the US, so it would be the same. Apart from where I went, could be based on emissions. But like, for 73, it's really nice. I wouldn't mind one of these myself, just because a few people can get in it. And like I said, you're getting the V8. I said it's interesting. You get the Stag there in the front, and I said it's like a giant Spitfire. And I love the curves of the Spitfire. It's just missing the archway. Like, it's not as archy as a Spitfire, but you can see it's similar style, but it's just big. Yeah, so it's a nice car. It really is. If you pick up a nice one, it's always worth getting. Like I said, it doesn't feel like you're driving a classic. I'll give it that. It doesn't feel like a classic, but in reality, you can still go to the British shows and be in a classic. It just doesn't feel the same way because it just feels too modern. But then again, look at a lot of the Jags. A lot of the Jags are well ahead of everybody else in the way the technology and what the toys, to say the word, you got in it compared to some of them where you get nothing. Anyway, that's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to jack this up in the air and we're going to get cracking into it. Maybe not tonight. This is just the start of it. And we're going to take the wheels off. Going to drop the oil, change the plugs. Most likely probably change the distributor cap as well. And just go through and change what we can to get it, make sure it's running good. We'll check. We'll do maybe a flush on the coolant as well. Everything we can to make it run a bit better. And of course, the main thing is the brakes, because she's a bit worried about the brakes. I think one of them could be seized, or that rubber, like I says. If you've ever seen any of my videos, a lot of the times the flexi line between the caliper back to the main line, it implodes. So usually 5 to 10 years is your run where it starts to squeeze in and implode. And the brake, when you apply it will apply the brakes, but it won't release the brake. So every time you apply it, just keeps pushing more and more in. Hence, and that's how you end up with a seized brake. So anyway, that's it. We'll get up in the air and we'll start getting stuck into it. So yeah, let's get going. Okay, so I have the caliper off. So we took it off and we're going to check now to see if it's seized. Now there's two ways to check to see if it's seized, because what the problem can be is this here. Now I said this car has had these on it for a long time, way too long, and I feel like these are imploding and they're not releasing the fluid back up and therefore keeping the brakes in a compressed state. In other words, it's constantly, if the fluid is getting in here and not releasing, it's not allowing the pad to come back and therefore wearing the pad down. And the more wear is down, then yeah, it keeps going over. The problem is though, when that keeps going too much and this overheats, then this completely seizes and the piston then heats up too much and seizes to the wall basically, and it ends up a seized unit. So if it's caught quick enough or soon enough, to say the word, I say soon enough, it could be a year or something, then you may be able to get away with it and actually do something about it. But it looks like the rubber seals, to be honest, is almost perished on this. So how do we know if the caliper is seized? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to try push the piston back in. What you can do is you can continue to apply the brakes and you should see this come out. And usually I want to say 8 or 9 times out of 10, it will still come out. Even if the caliper is seized, it will still work its way out because the fluid will force it out. It just won't go back. But if the caliper is seized solid completely, it's not moving any direction. So it smells like burnt brakes. That's what it smells like. I got the waft of it as soon as I took it off. Now the disc itself seems pretty fine. There's no ripples on it. There's no lip at the end of the disc here. If you feel a lip, that's where you can get it ladled or replace them. But that seems okay. It's a thick enough, certainly a thick enough disc or rotor, whatever you want to call it. So what we're going to do is we're going to see if this goes back. If it doesn't go back, then we're going to disconnect the cable, the tubing, and I'm going to try it again. And then that way it will allow the fluid to basically spill out. So there's no other way of doing it but getting the crimpers. That's just finding the best way of grabbing hold of it. Oh, that looks seized. That's not moving at all. I'm going to try it further back. It shouldn't be this hard to do. You should be just able to squeeze it lightly and it should go. Oh, that doesn't want to move. Alright. This looks like it's seized in position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. I'm going to get a tube and I'm going to try it again in case this tube is what's stopping it from going back. But I have a funny feeling the caliper is seized. Now, in all honesty, the price of the calipers, I don't trust rebuilding them. I'd rather replace them. It smells burnt. Like it smells like it was heating up and almost on fire. That's what I get the smell of. So I would replace them all day long. So let me just go get some. We're going to take this off and then we're going to try it again. Alright, she's out. I took it off and not a single drop of fluid came out of it, which is never a good sign. That just goes to show that this thing is probably completely seized in the cable. So now we have it off, we're going to do it again. I'm going to see if she goes back at all. Now you're wondering, what if these wind in? What's always the possibility? And let me tell you something, and it should be, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, if you have any wind up calipers, it will never look like this. This is, like, if you look at it, there's nowhere to put something in the middle. A wind-up caliper will always have like an archway around to allow a wind-up tool to sit directly in the middle. So it'll have, like, you'll see rear brakes where it has like one side it will have like a half moon shape taken out of it. So when the brake pads are out, it allows you to actually put a rewind kit that it ends up lying right in the middle of the pistons. This is solid both sides, so I can guarantee you it is a pushback. Now again, I know the front ones are always push, but in case you come across a rear one that's the same. Ooh, so I have to put it in the bucket because I got some fluid over it. There you go, that's going back. This piston's moved back. Pistons moved back. As you see, the brake fluid is absolutely, say the word burnt, it's black, but the pistons did move, which is good. So that means it's not seized solid, but that just proves the point that your flexi hose here, now this flexi hose is the problem. This thing is probably imploded completely, and it's only the sheer brake pedals allowing the fluid to go in, but the most likely what happened is the brake applied to a certain degree, and now it's not working at all. It's just stuck in that pressure mode. So it's not braking, or it's not. So that as soon as it rubs enough for this to wear, that this starts to move a bit freely, it will stay like that and never change. So she had a vibration in the steering. That could also be a possibility, but I'm surprised she hasn't felt a pull. Because usually when the brake seizes, when you brake, the car pulls to the direction it's braking on. So if the right hand one was seized, the car will pull to the left, because this is not doing anything. The left one is slowing down, so therefore it will automatically veer in that direction. So if you ever find when you brake and the car pulls to one direction, the side it's going to is usually the brake that's actually working. So the opposite side is the where you want to look for to see if there's an issue. So that's my rule of thumb. Is it's always been like that. It will always, because it's not doing anything. So now for a fact we know we're changing these. We're going to change them anyway, but now I've just proven the point. Now I just want to see if that has enough damage or whatever been done to these that it's worth just replacing these, because I said these smell burnt. I'd prefer after the seas in that sort of direction to rebuild it, because they are pretty the rubber looks pretty perished in here. I personally, after this is a 73, after 50 years, I would rather just, you know what, replace it. I'd rather have a brake caliper that I know that works than run the risk of not having no brakes, because safety first. So I'm going to recommend we go change that. So alright, well, I'm going to do the same you do. I'm just going to remove it, and then we're going to go from there. Alright, so roll on some more high speed. Alright, so I've removed the rest of the lines, and yes, we're going to change them all. I don't want to run the chance, because it says these lines here have a lifespan, believe it or not, of like 5 to 10 years. So like they're meant to get changed, but like people will continue on with them. It was the front right here that was the main problem. When I took the front left off, it wasn't as bad, but it was still, this has gone. If one is gone, I can guarantee the other one's gone. So if the front are gone, I can guarantee the rear ones are probably gone as well. So we're going to change all 4 of them just for the sake of it, and we'll do the same thing. We'll put new calipers on the front. We're going to bleed the system front and back and make sure it has good brakes. That's probably one of the most important things on the car. And then obviously, yeah, make sure that's being looked after. So I'm going to leave these where they are just in case, because the way things are nowadays, the amount of times I've ordered parts and the wrong ones come, and then you get mixed up which one's where or which one's on which side. So now I'm going to leave this in the spot where it's meant to go. So I'll just leave it sitting on the trailing arm there, and when it comes around, we get the other bits and pieces, we'll use it. Because the Stag is odd. And like, do we have the, usually here at Plan 6 Parts, we usually have most of them sort of parts in stock. However, not everything is always exactly the same. Like the lines there, we have ones that are identical, but they're just shorter, so they won't work. I'd rather have them too long. So yeah, we're going to get them in. Because this car here, I'm saying this is why it's odd. This car here, you can almost break into like 3 parts. So when you're on the inside, I see a Spitfire. You see the Spitfire gauges, the layout, and it feels like you're in a massive Spitfire. That's what it feels like when you look at the dash. From the engine compartment, to me, it's like putting 2 Tier 7 engines in there, like half a 7 and half a 7. We end up with a Tier 14. Couldn't help that one. I think I've said that already to somebody. So that's the way I see it. I'm going to change the bits and pieces. I said we're going to change the rotor, we're going to change the cap, and we're actually moving on to the plugs next. But the other part of this, actually, is a lot of the parts come across the MG, believe it or not. A lot of the parts I looked up are cross-referenced to the MG. I know some of the internals here cross-referenced with the V8 MG. So like, I'm curious to see how they ended up with this Stag. Where did it really come from? You take the Spitfire inside, stretch it to make it bigger, and then put the MG style or the V8 engine in there, because yeah, it's just great car, great car. I'm enjoying working on this. What else are we going to do to this? So now what we're going to do is we're going to finish the plugs on this side. We already have the filters and all changed. We're going to change the air filter. So this is like a top mount carburetor. These are like a K&N filter. So if you ever see these, this is, well, brown in colour. When I wash it, it's either going to be grey, yellow or red, because it's not necessarily the original colour. And you can buy, if you ever have these, you can actually buy the K&N kits. And when you wash them and dry them out, because they're reusable, you spray them with an oil. It's like an oily spray. And I had gathered on the discs there. I did move it off to allow me to get the cap off, but yeah, we're going to clean that and put it back on. I like that. It's a nice big shiny top. It has a bit of an American style to it, and maybe that's where they were going with it, because it's a V8, so like it's meant to represent America. What we're also going to do is we're going to change the connection on the battery lead and put a cut off. We're going to put a kill switch on the positive side. Now, people will argue and say, why are you putting on the positive side and not the negative side? Me personally, I'm all for put your switch on the positive side. And the reason why is that, apart from the memory of the radio, which you can bypass the switch and go directly to the post on the battery, you could cut the negative to the battery, but yet the power is still going through the car. So if anything is grounded, you still have positive and negative, which means you can still drain the battery and still cause a problem. Me, all day long, I will put the kill switch on the positive post and kill it right there, and then you won't have any issues through. Like I said, the only thing that really runs off the battery direct is either a clock or the radio, the memory for a radio, if you even have one. Now that's for a modern radio. The old ones won't make a difference. They're just all by your signal. So yeah, so we're going to take the negative one off this, which is a twist style, which I hate. I'm not fond of them whatsoever. And we're going to put a more flat one that's a connection into a lock one. I put the same style one on the TR3 and it's much better. I just find it a better fit, but again, that's me personally. Everybody's to their own choice. Whatever works for you is absolutely. Yeah, so let's change some plugs. This one here, the plugs can be odd. I say odd. The plugs, believe it or not, pretty much cross-reference with a TR6. So on the TR6, you have a champion plug that is the recommended or the best plug for it. Take the dipstick out of the way. On this, there is some NGK ones that are, how do I say, you can use. So on the TR6, you can use some NGK ones, which is like a BP6ES or something along that line. They're okay, they'll work with it, but the Champion is the better one. And be mindful as well, when it comes to depending what year you have, there's two different Champion plugs. There's a 9YC and a 12YC. So make sure you read your manual so you get the right one, because one is for the early engines and one is for the late engines. I'm going to say the 9 is for early and 12 is for late, because this is a 12. Now, I could be wrong. I can't think of it offhand, but yeah, it's coming out. Feels like a little cross-threaded. So it is a little cross-threaded. There's a lot of dirt in there. So these are the N12YC. If you can see it, hopefully it focuses. I'm not sure if it's going to focus on it. Anyway, these are the 12. The N12YC, which you will find in a TR6. The recommended ones for this one are the NGK, the BP5ES. 5, not BP6ES, which is a TR6. TR6 is the BP6ES. Now, what the difference is, I don't know. I'm not this spark plug person who knows everything. The only thing I can tell you mainly about a spark plug is if you have a BP-OR, which this one is, it means it has a resistor in it. And all that one will do is, it's like it regulates the amount of power, the ohms that travels through the plug. When the non-resistant ones, whatever comes in the top, just gets sent on the bottom, as long as it's not broken. So, actually I'll just squeeze these a bit. These come, and they gap the same. Most of them are all gap the same at 25 tau. So, what's still a bit loose? Yeah, these come, I don't know what the gap is to begin with. Tell you? No, I don't think they tell you the gap enough. I feel like these are about 28 or 29 when you first get them. So it's always best, even with the Champion plugs, if you get them from the TR6, if you get them, always close them and re-gap them just to make sure, because you'd be surprised the difference of one to the other. Just trying to find a spot to squeeze it. There you go. You'd be surprised the difference if you have one gapped at 25 and another one gapped at 28. Like a little difference in spark can be that can cause a little misfire even. You'd be amazed because all the rest of them are running on a set, and then that was a little odd. How much of a difference? I don't know. But anyway, we're going to continue with this. Well, I am. I don't think you want to see me continue to change all the plugs. Yeah, it's getting there. Any other questions, concerns, give me a shout. Like I said, I was only really in for a service and go over a few things. But again, it's something to check, like I said, with the brakes, if you ever do them, is to take them off and see if you can track back, and if you do, take the flexi cable off. But yeah, you should change them every 5 to 10 years. So pretty much when you change your brake pads, it's probably every 5 years, maybe even more before you change them, change the lines that go with it, because just bleed the whole system. That's it. I'm going to continue on with this, and when the rest of the parts arrive, we'll continue on. So see you in the next part. Thanks for watching.